Hey now, Adam.
Hey, what's up? How you doing, Sitch?
So, have you seen the movie Hidden Figures?
Hidden Figures. No, I haven't seen that one. Is that
Oh, okay.
new?
No, this movie came out a few years ago. It was a movie about black women who worked for NASA in the 50s and 60s, and not only about how like important and pivotal a role they played in terms of helping, the lunar missions and other things, but a lot of it also focused on the racism and discrimination that they faced at NASA specifically. Well, it turns out that maybe a lot of what that movie showed is not actually true. Okay.
Oh, really?
Yes. It could have maybe been fudging the things. And one of the first things I'll talk about, which is interesting, is one of the main characters, Katherine Johnson. Okay.
Right.
Who's the lady right in the middle. Okay. That's the actress that plays her in the movie, right?
Okay.
Okay. Why don't you, let's bring up a picture of what she actually looks like. And you
This
tell
is
me if you see some discrepancies here.
this is Catherine Johnson here in the movie, played by
Yes.
this actress.
Right.
And okay, here we have the real Catherine
Oh,
Johnson.
wow. Okay, wow. So okay. So
Okay. Look, definitely that's someone who's gonna face discrimination, right?
yeah. So there was a thing. So there's a whole thing in the movie where apparently uh in the movie this character, Catherine, or this person, supposedly in real life, Catherine Johnson, she had to use like the bathroom,
Right.
but there were no bathrooms available for black people nearby, so she had to do some like half-mile hike to go to the bathroom, every day, right?
Terrible.
Okay. Turns out that that's not true.
Oh,
That
really?
this
They didn't have
never,
like
yeah.
a whites only bathroom at NASA in the 60s?
Well, okay, so apparently in the 50s, one of the other women, not where she normally works, but in a different building at Langley, did try to find a bathroom because it was segregated where she worked normally wasn't segregated, and she couldn't find, she had to spend extra time finding one. And, there were white women there and they were being very racist and rude and not helping her find out, where the non-white person bathroom was, right? In the
Well, that
50s,
sucks.
which
Yeah.
definitely sucks, right? But to this lady in the 60s, Katherine Johnson, this incident never happened where she had to walk half a mile to get to, a specific bathroom. That is just completely fabricated from the movie. And as you can see, it wasn't even clear to a lot of people what her ethnic background even was, because
Yeah.
she's mixed and she doesn't look, like she necessarily like you would look at her and be like, oh, that's a black person. I'm gonna be racist against her.
She looks very white. Yes.
She looks very white. Yes, right. And it's really weird too because a lot of the articles that talk about this person, Katherine Johnson, they do this weird thing where they like darken her skin up to make her look darker and blacker than she is.
What? Articles doing shenanigans with the race
Yes,
stuff? I can't
yes.
imagine such a thing.
So
You
we
want to
got
bring up?
these pictures for
Do
comparison,
we
as you
have a
can
side
see.
by side
We
comparison
do,
here?
we
Okay,
do.
let's see
Yeah.
what. Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
okay.
We got Rosa Parks here. And who's this white lady?
Yeah, exactly. Isn't that insane? That's it. By the way, that picture on the right, that's from Vanity Fair. Okay. Vanity Fair, like, definitely added, they took the picture and, like, can we add some melanin to this picture? She's supposed to be like a black lady who worked for NASA. She looks like the white lady. I don't know what's up with this.
Right. They're worried they're going to get accused of racism for using the wrong photo in the
Right.
article. Yeah.
Right.
Look, you've
Yeah.
disrespected the entire black community.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So that was like the first big thing was like really, I guess, darkening up this lady's appearance to make her seem blacker or darker than she is. Which, by the way, if I was black, that'd be like really offensive to me that they're doing this like blackface sort of thing.
Yeah. Oh
Like,
man. That is kind of insulting, isn't it?
isn't it? Like, yeah, I mean, she's mixed race and she suffered discrimination because of, her parents' mixed race, and she talks about, that in her life, and that's fine. But just like, I don't like. I don't like when movies that are based on true events just start making up a bunch of stuff for dramatic purposes because most people that see the movie, they think that what the movie is saying is real. They're not going to think like, oh, it's hyperbolized for the sake of cinema.
Right. Well, that's the purpose of it. They're trying to spread that America bad narrative around.
Right,
Obviously.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me talk about some other things that they changed. Well, first let me say like and give credit where credit's due because I don't have a problem with people celebrating Katherine Johnson or some of these other women because they did do an important thing. You know, they were involved in NASA and that's good. And you know, some of them, one of the other women, Dorothy Vaughan, you know, she was the first black supervisor in NASA in you know in the late 40s, early 50s, and that's quite an accomplishment. So that's good,
Yeah.
right? And Katherine Johnson did help, you know, calculate or I believe check because they had actual computers doing some of the calculations and they were checking them, you know, because they didn't trust them because this is like in the early age of computers, you know, checking the trajectories for Alan Shepard's, you know, space flight. This was he's the first American in space and you know things of that nature. So that's all good and that should all be applauded. But you shouldn't add a bunch of stuff because a big theme in the movie is that Katherine Johnson feels all this racism in the movie. And they literally added a character, okay? The guy from the Big Bang TV show was added to this character. I mean, it was this guy was added to the movie, and he was supposed to be sort of like a statistician that worked for them, and he was hyper racist, hyper sexist. Turns out that character didn't exist in real life.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
They just added his character because they're like, well, we wanted someone to be like an amalgamation of the racist, sexist attitudes of the 1950s.
Right.
Didn't exist, but didn't exist. Didn't exist in real life. And not only was he just super racist and sexist, he was at this character was actually trying to undermine her and say that she shouldn't be there, right? That she should just be a secretary. And they also added they had Kirsten Dunst in the movie, and she was like her supervisor, and she was also racist against her because she was black.
Wow.
Also, not a real character, completely a fictional character. Now, and on top of that, Katherine Johnson says she was asked this. She said, "Did you feel segregation of the outside world while you were working at NASA?" And she said, "No, I didn't feel segregation at NASA because everyone there was doing research. You had a mission and you worked on it. It was important to do your job. And then you would play bridge at lunch. I didn't feel any segregation. I knew it was there, but I didn't feel it." Okay.
Wow.
Which to me is pretty disgusting because instead of this being a story about like, well, look how awesome NASA is, that even in the 60s where people were really racist, like the people that worked at NASA weren't racist, right? Like
Yeah.
they just cared about the mission and they were willing to work with women, they were willing to work with black women. They didn't care about any of this stuff. Instead of that being the movie, it's like, no, we have to make NASA racist. We have to make everyone in the movie, you know, we have to make all these people in the movie racist. They're like hyper, you know, emphasize all this stuff that didn't actually happen to these people.
Yeah, that's so sad. They threw the scientists and people at NASA under the bus just so that they could maintain this racist narrative. They didn't have to do that. They could have written the movie so there she experienced racism elsewhere in the world that would have seemed believable. And work was kind of an oasis away from that kind of racism.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And there was another thing too. Well, there's a couple other things. One was that I mean it's a movie, so they made it seem like these three black women were like the only women that were checking the calculations when
Right.
obviously like in
Yeah.
real life it was like hundreds of people.
Right. Okay.
Many whom were white. And like, yeah, a lot of them were women, but it's just to me, like again, it's like it just gives people the completely wrong impression. And on top of that, apparently, when I was researching this, there was someone else who was involved with the moon landing who was pivotal to doing the calculations. It was a guy named Dr. Jack Crenshaw. And apparently he like invented the equations and trajectory required for NASA to like circle the lunar vessel around the moon and back.
Wow.
Okay. And this guy, not mentioned in the movie, completely removed from the movie, right?
He was the wrong race, right?
Because
They
he's
just
just a
had to
white
leave him
guy.
out.
He's
Yeah.
just a white guy, right? And supposedly they even gave some of these calculations to like some of the women to like make it like they came up with this stuff in the movie
Wow.
when they
Wow. So
didn't. It
they're
was this guy.
completely rewriting history.
Yes. Yes. To make it
Wow.
and it's gross because this movie's based off a book, but the book is accurate. You know, the book is but for the movie, they're like, oh, well, it's a movie, right? So we have to add all this extra drama. And just it really drives me crazy. It's the same thing like in The Social Network, which I watched it and I'm like, oh, this is a good movie. And then I find out, even though I like David Fincher a lot because he, director of Fight Club, find out that the main character motivation for Mark Zuckerberg that's presented in the movie, which was that like he was in love with this girl and she dumps him in the beginning of the movie, and everything's kind of like based around that. That's all like a lie. Like
That's all
it's
fictitious.
all
Yeah.
fictitious. It's all fictitious. Like apparently in real life, Mark Zuckerberg, the person he's married to now was like his like only girlfriend in college, and they never broke up. And so
Right.
everything about that character motivation movie was just like completely fictional. And I really really despise that stuff because so many people see these movies and they just assume they're true. That's like that's what they believe is true. So I completely against Hollywood taking these creative liberties for the purposes of drama, to add all this stuff. And especially it's even worse with this because they add all this stuff that makes like so much seem it makes everything seem worse and more hyper racist. And we
Yeah.
don't we don't need that in 2023, do we?
Of course not. Look, they're gaslighting us. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that
So
was just another example of like woke nonsense being shoved into a movie in Hollywood.
so when was this unearthed? So the movie came out a while ago, and this is a new story because someone recently unearthed that this is all inaccurate.
Well, it's like people when the movie came out, people were talking about it, and then just like every few years, something else comes out, and people are just like
Right.
talking
Yeah.
about like how kind of messed up it is that this situation happened. So.
Yeah. All right.
But
Cool.
and also I think it undermines, these women's actual what they did, because what they did was impressive and they should be lauded for it. But you don't need to add a bunch of fake stuff to it on top of it.
Look, making giant scientific accomplishments is really not enough unless there's some racism being
Oh,
leveled at
okay.
you.
Right.
That's what's really that's what the struggle is all
I
about,
mean,
Sitch. You need
Katherine Johnson got the Medal of like Honor or Freedom or whatever from Obama. Okay. So it's not like it's good, right? You don't need to make up a bunch of stuff about her and about these people that they faced all this like adversity that they didn't. Okay. It's
I
fine.
mean, obviously Obama's going to give it to her. Why didn't she get it from one of the white guys?
Because they're racist.
Racism.
Obviously.
Come on.
Obviously, that's true. You're
Come
right. I
on.
take it back. You know what? I take it all back. Everything I said in this video, I take it all back. Good for you, Hidden Figures. Add as much, racism, fake racism into the movie as possible. Just go for it.
Right, right. They should have added a scene with Obama trying to give her the award and them telling him, no, we can't do that. Look, come on, she's black.
No, no, they should have added a scene where Bill Clinton was like, "Hey, who should we give the Medal of Honor to?" And someone's like, and then there's like the one black person, the one black woman that works for Bill Clinton, and she's like, "Well, there's this woman, Katherine Johnson. She's like, half black or whatever. She did all this stuff." And Bill's like, "Give a medal to a black woman? Get out of here. That's a preposterous. I mean, let me look at her picture. Maybe I want her number, but I'm not giving her no medal. Now get me a double cheeseburger from McDonald's." Okay, that would have been the scene for the movie, right?
Right, yes. And then Obama comes along and rights the wrong of
That's right.
history.
That's right. No, and in that room was a young Barack Obama who just happened to work for Bill
No,
Clinton.
Barack Obama's the one that suggests her.
Yes, and he's like, "Oh,
Come on, it's Hollywood. It doesn't
that's
have to
right.
be accurate.
You're right. Exactly, exactly." And no, 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 no. It's not Obama. It's not Barack Obama. We're fools. It's Michelle Obama. It's
Oh,
Michelle Obama.
oh,
Yes.
yes,
And then when Barack
yes.
is president, he's like, who should this is what this is the scene is Barack is president. He's like, who should we give the Medal of Honor to? And all his cabinet of males, they all just say a bunch of men. And then he goes home at night and he's talking to Michelle about it. And she's like, well, there's this one woman I know who's worthy.
Exactly.
And then smash cut to Obama putting the medal on her, and the confetti drops down from the ceiling, and the children are weeping, and the world is at peace once more.
Yeah, finally, civil rights have been achieved.
True.
Hi, you just listened to a Sitch and Adam recorded video. That's right, we're doing Monday through Friday deep dive recorded videos now. And of course, we're still doing our live streams. Our live streams are on Sunday and Tuesday starting at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. And you can super chat us, or you can join the channel. Subscribe to this channel right here to watch the live show or watch more of our awesome deep dive videos.